If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over, loud. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up. Daddies, he know he won't have it. He knows his whole back to these ropes. It don't matter, he's dope. He knows that, but he's broke. He's so stagnant, he knows when he goes back to this mobile home, that's when it's back to the lab again, yo. This old rhapsody better go back to this moment and hope it don't pass him.
Listen, we can talk about the flag, but let's talk about... Wait.
And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. We're sort of live here tonight, tomorrow, today. I don't know how to phrase it. Again, just like last week, we're pre-recording this show. We've traded in the coffee for a little bit of a cocktail, but that was so that we can accommodate our special guest today. I'm your host, Phil Stifle. As always, you can follow me at Bearded Knowledge. My main man, Mark Moschitelli, at Mark with a C Moschitelli, sitting by my side, and our special guest, Jason Lee from PHL 17. He produces and works on the morning show there and host of a fantastic show. Now, Jason,
Thank you.
I don't stay up every single night till 11:30 on Fridays, but I try to catch as many of your shows. 15 PHL 17 Friday nights at 11:30. Jason, thank you for coming on the show this morning.
My pleasure. Can I make a confession to you, Phil?
Absolutely.
I struggle to stay up too. Now, in my defense, it's because I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, but still, it's 11:30 on a Friday. Just it's late for me, so I get it.
Yeah, it's not easy. But you've done some great interviews. I've seen some ones. I still, when I found you, I won't lie. I'm going to ask you about your career here in a second because you've been around for a while. I found you. I saw your first interview. I saw that you did was when you had Ike Reese on at the beginning of the season and at the beginning of the football season, and that's when I kind of got hooked onto your content there. But You obviously work with PHL 17. You got a great show there, Sports Scene, on Friday night.
Thank you.
You've been around for a pretty long time. Kind of tell people that are watching this show, maybe a little bit of something about what they might not know about you. You're born and raised in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah, and I have to say, first off, what people may not know about me, but they're going to find out during the course of this interview, I have bad allergies. So forgive the constant throat clearing, man, because I've been miserable all day today. So I apologize in advance for that.
Right with you on that.
But yeah, no. I mean, I'm born and raised in Philly. I'm born in this area. I never left. I've been lucky because a lot of times, in broadcasting, you kind of have to start in a small market. I started at a very small station in a big market. So I started small, but I didn't have to move. So I've been very lucky in that regard. And I've always been able to turn on a game because I'm still in my hometown. I have friends across the country who they want to watch a Phillies game. They got to get the MLB package, or they got to hope it's on nationally or something. But I never had to do that. And now I have kids, so I have deep roots here. So I don't ever plan on leaving.
That's awesome. I actually know what that's like, what your friends feel like, because I worked on a cruise ship for a few years as a DJ, and the only thing you get is international ESPN. So the only time you see Eagles games was when they were on Monday Night Football. When you only saw Phillies games when they were on Sunday Night Baseball. That was the only time you got to see what pain they go through. I lived through, so I know.
Well, first of all, it had to be tough. I mean, it's great being on a cruise ship as a passenger, but I always wondered what it's like as a crew member. That had to be kind of difficult, right?
Well, I just DJ'd late at night, so I pretty much just partied with the guests.
Okay,
all day.
There you go.
Yeah, I had the easiest job on the ship, so that was not a struggle. But I know the struggle that your sports friends feel once they have to leave the area, because that's not easy at all. And one other thing about your career so far, what's it like? You've been around, you've worked on a lot of radio stations, a lot of channels. You have your own show now. Like, that's got to be, the culmination of everything right there, right? Like, what's it like when you turn on the TV, when you're awake at 11:30 at night and you see yourself right there on TV? That's got to be the ultimate, the ultimate high right there.
Not to be cliche, but it's a dream come true. I mean, when I first got into broadcasting, and October of this year is going to be 30 years.
Wow.
I tell people I started when I was 10, but they don't believe that. No, when I first started, I always wanted to do sports, and just the way opportunities came and just the way my career went, I really didn't have many opportunities to do sports, and this sports show just kind of, I don't want to say it fell into my lap, but part of being successful is being in the right place at the right time. And I was in the right place at the right time. PHL 17 wants to do more local programming. They floated the idea of a sports show, and I was like, hey, hello. Hello. Yeah, so I got the show. Yeah, it's a dream come true. And this is going to sound weird to you guys. People say, you can DVR the show. When I say that I have so much trouble staying up till 11:30 because I get up so early in the morning, and I say, yeah, but you know what? It's like if I don't watch it when it's on TV, how do I know it was really on? I mean, does that sound weird to you guys?
Not at all. Not at all. I don't
And
even know
I
how to
will tell
respond
you-
to. I don't even know how to respond to that.
No, and I will tell you, I mean, there is a sense of like, when I'm watching the show, is this really happening? Is somebody pinch me because I'm watching myself on TV right now, and it still doesn't seem real. But man, I'm so blessed and I'm so lucky, and I'm having a blast doing it.
That's awesome.
You're living the dream that Phil and I have. We're just regular working schmoes that do this little podcast because we want to be the next Jason Lee, or we want to be the next guy that's on WIP.
Well, I will tell you this, okay, and believe me, I'm not a motivational speaker, but one thing I have found is that good work does get rewarded. And if you guys are passionate, and you obviously are, and you do good work, and you obviously do, just keep plugging away. I mean, I went through so many ups and downs in my career, and even at PHL 17, I had a lot of highs and lows. I mean, the company's been great. The station's been great to me, but in terms of what was best for my own personal career, I had some ups and downs. But you keep, you hang in, you keep plugging away, you keep doing good work, and eventually good work does get noticed. Sometimes it doesn't happen as quick as we want it to, but good work does get noticed. So I would tell you guys, just keep on doing it.
Yep. No,
That's great.
we were actually literally just having that conversation before, you joined the off-air, group here. We were literally just having that conversation, Mark and I. It's a grind. It really is.
Sure.
Mark and I just literally met, 2-3 months ago, on
In
social
October.
media. Yeah, we literally just started pairing up, I do the show every single morning. Mark joins me when he can. But I was originally a broadcast major. Things happen in life. It's not the way I graduated. It's not, the path I chose. But, at 40 years old, starting a podcast, you never know where it'll take you. But you got to put the grind in, you got to put the effort in, and you got to have the passion to do it.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, I'm sorry. And I'm one of those guys, like, you watch all the shows on TV and you listen to the radio, and I'm like, well, hell, dude, I can do that. I know just as much as the next guy on there. And I'll tell you, it's not as easy as it looks. I mean, I do my prep work. You got to watch all the games. You can't fake it. Like, if you didn't watch the game, like, how are you going to comment the next day?
Yep.
And whether I DVR it or watch some highlights or pull up the box score, you got to do your homework. And what makes it a little bit harder for guys like us, we have regular 9-to-5 jobs. So
Yeah.
It's
a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah,
I don't
listen.
know what a 9-to-5 job is.
Well, I mean, look, work does get in the way. I mean, my alarm goes off at 1 a.m. So a lot of times I can't watch an entire game, especially if they're out on the West Coast. It's funny, when they're out on the West Coast, I can listen to the end of the game on the radio driving to work. But yeah, so you go through the highlights the next day, and you try to get up to speed that way. And I'm sure you guys have dealt with that. If there's daytime Phillies games and you guys are at work, what are you going to do?
Well, that's the privilege. I own a pizza shop, so that's the privilege. All games are on at all times at my place of work. So
where's your pizza shop? I got to visit you, man.
I'm in Kennett Square, South, Southern Chester County. I'm there 7 days a week. I normally have Fox's Pizza gear on for my show, but it's Masters week, so I have to wear my Masters green jacket.
It's a good look.
I don't normally get dressed up for the morning show, but you're here. It's Masters week, so green jacket is on this week. All right, and obviously, let's actually get into Phillies talk. Green jacket, Green Eagles. Obviously, this afternoon, the Eagles announced a big trade, as we expected. They're not going to take 3 draft picks in the first round. Eagles
Right.
traded their 16th and 19th pick basically for, the 18th pick. The Saints, they got some bonus picks, next year's first, second, third, all these different things in this massive trade. So, Jason, thoughts on the Eagles trade that they just made today, and also the Eagles offseason overall. Where are your thought process right now with what Howie's been doing?
Well, I have to say, first of all, overall, I mean, if you were to ask me overall, am I a Howie fan? I'd probably lean toward no. But he has made some good moves that, you got to give credit where credit's due. I thought the trade today was great. I mean, he's banking on the fact that New Orleans is going to be bad, and that seems like it's a pretty safe bet. So that first round pick will be pretty good. And basically, it seems like they basically put themselves in the same position next year that they're in this year, where if they want to get a quarterback, they've got the ammo to do it. And they're giving Jalen Hurts one more year, which I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I mean, I kind of like that. I mean, I like I'm sure you guys, I saw a lot of his flaws too, but I think the kid's got ability. I think he's hungry. He's got a great attitude. And when you've got somebody who's hungry and has the talent and has the ability and is willing to learn, I think you try to mold him, and I think he is moldable. And listen, he obviously has chemistry with Devontae Smith, and that'll continue. So I think it's a good roll of the dice. I mean, if it doesn't work out, you get a quarterback next year. If it does work out, well, you can shore up some other areas. So I thought today was a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. So where we're at, Mark's not a Jalen Hurts guy.
Okay.
On the other hand, I don't hold on. I'm a guy that says he's earned 2022, no doubt about it.
I agree. But I see Mark's side of the story too. I do.
Yeah, but I think great intangibles of Jalen Hurts, and even average quarterback play from Jalen Hurts, the great intangibles make up for the average overall skill set. So Mark, on the other hand, Mark, I'll let you go.
Here's my concern with Jalen Hurts. Or it's more so with the Eagles themselves. I feel like that the organization is trying to find this unicorn quarterback to solve all their problems, and they're so focused on chasing that. I'm afraid that they're going to go ahead and miss everything else in the process. I don't necessarily not like Hurts. I'm a little concerned about his arm. But I also think that if you put some things around him, he may improve, just as a really, really good quarterback can elevate the game of a wide receiver. My concern is that they're constantly chasing a quarterback. I don't want to see them do that, because there's only a couple Patrick Mahomes out there. There's only a couple, Joe Burrow out there. This guy does have a little bit of pedigree. He played at Oklahoma and he played at Alabama, and he wasn't bad at either spot. He has command of that locker room, and he's a leader. Some skills that Carson Wentz lacked. And I just give this guy a chance. But you got to make a decision. Is he the guy or isn't he the guy? You can't keep going into every season and say, all right, I'll give him one more year. I'll give him one more year. Make a damn decision. And I don't think they can pull this out, season after season. They have to make a decision soon. Yeah.
I mean, listen, and that's certainly a logical argument. I get that, but I kind of agree with Phil. I mean, I think he's earned 2022, and we'll see what happens. He's got every opportunity to kind of take the bull by the horn, so to speak. And if he doesn't, then as you said, Mark, they keep chasing a quarterback. We'll see what happens.
But as Mark said, there's only so many Patrick Mahomes. There's only so many, Josh Allen. So the elite of the elite. There's only so many of them. I still feel strongly that you can win with an average quarterback that we cannot deny the leadership factor of Jalen Hurts, the want factor, the desire to work harder every single day. That whole the rent check is due thing. I know it was cliche and kind of cheesy, but that with that locker room leadership and commanding that room, I think could take, if you're the 15th or 17th best quarterback, but you throw those intangibles in there, that's enough, if Howie, gets a better wide receiver, Howie improves the defense. If Nick Sirianni is a really good coach,
yeah,
all that can affect.
If they surround him with weapons, they can definitely win with Jalen Hurts. I totally agree.
Yeah. How do you think the rest of this offseason then has played out so far for Howie Roseman? Are you happy with the fact that, they've made very minimal moves. They've just pretty much brought everybody back and signed Hassan Reddick.
Right.
Me and Mark have both been on that whole, he's playing chess, not checkers. He's building a foundation, those kind of things. It's a long game with Howie Roseman right now.
Yeah, well, listen, they certainly need more. There's certainly some more holes they have to fill. Listen, the Reddick signing is certainly a good one, but yeah, I know they brought back Boston Scott. He's got talent, but yeah, there's still much more they got to do.
Yeah,
what? Where on which side of the ball? See, with the 3 first-round picks that they had, I really was hoping they would go at least 2 of the 3 to defense, because I think they're really desperate for some playmakers on defense. And while they did make a couple signings, I don't think it's enough, and I don't trust Gannon as a defensive coordinator. I don't. You can throw me the stats out there. He just doesn't pass the vibe check with me.
No,
and I'm concerned.
I'm with you. I was really hoping he'd get one of those head coaching jobs in the offseason. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, someone's going to take him off our hands, seriously? But it didn't work out that way. But yeah, no, I agree. They definitely need more help on defense. Safety would be great. So listen, his work isn't done yet. So we'll see if he has any more tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, just so you know, there will be a wide receiver taken with one of those 2 first-round picks.
I would think so.
For a long time, it's going to happen. I know everybody wants defense, but the one thing I try to tell everybody is you track Howie's trends and his MO as a GM. It's defensive lineman and it's wide receiver or offensive tackle if they need it in that first round. They don't need an offensive tackle this year. They need defensive line help. They need wide receiver. It's going to be either that guy from Georgia, now Delonte West, I believe his name is, or whatever that tackle is, or one of the edge rushers, and it's going to be a wide receiver. There's no doubt in my mind. But I want to transition. We only have a few minutes of your time. I want to compress as much information out of you as we can here in this little bit of time here. Sixers, we got 4 games left of the season. Playoffs are right around the corner. Joel Embiid is no longer the betting favorite for MVP. And I don't know if you're a bettor, Jason. I don't know if you throw a shekel here or there onto a sports app or not. But how in the right mind is Joel Embiid not the betting favorite anymore?
You got me. You got me. To me, he should be the odds-on favorite. And no, I'm not a betting guy. You guys bet sports. I bet like $1 a game, and that's it. I'm a baby bettor. I have a sports betting guy on my show, and I'm always fascinated with the facts he throws out. He's really good, but I've never actually done it. But no, to your point, I don't know how Embiid is not the odds-on favorite to win MVP. You look what he's doing night after night after night, and I guess it goes back to, what is the MVP the best player? Is it the most valuable player? Is it a combination of both? Embiid is the best player, and if you take him off this team, what are they? They still have talent, but they're not going to be nearly as good, which speaks to his value.
I think they're an under 500 team without him. I really do.
Sunday against the Cavaliers, he put up 44 and 17, and his odds to win MVP got worse. And that just blew my mind. I saw that this afternoon when I was prepping for this show. That literally his odds got worse after putting up 44 and 17.
But you know what? A lot of these awards, whether it's an MVP award, whether it's voting to get into whatever league's Hall of Fame, a lot of it is so subjective. It should be just based on ability, based on numbers, based on talent, but it's not. There's a lot of subjectivity that goes into it for some reason.
I think he has a little bit of a personality. Actually, has a lot of a personality.
He's great. Yeah.
And I think it probably rubs some folks the wrong way outside of our market here.
Right.
And that probably affects it in a negative fashion. But I love the guy. He is built for Philly. He is the team leader. I can't think of a game where he had an off night that really hurt the team. At least not this season. Maybe you can kind of throw a game out there or two, but like the guy comes to play every damn night.
Yeah, look, everybody has a bad game here or there. We all have bad days here or there. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Mark. I mean, he brings it night after night, and his personality fits Philadelphia perfectly. My fear is with this season, we're going to waste an MVP type season from Embiid because I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I'm worried about the Sixers. I mean, I'm looking at we were talking on the show last Friday night. I was talking with Devon Gibbons from the Fanatic. It seems like it's another second round exit. The way it's progressing now. I mean, can you really predict that they can win a 7-game series against any of the top teams in the East?
I mean, I think you can. There's going to be two different scenarios that happen here with this Sixers team. They're not going to be a second round exit. They're going to be a first round exit.
They could be,
playing like they are now, or they're going to get hot. It's going to click at the right moment. We've been talking about on our morning show, Mark and the other Jason that joins us on morning shows, about facing the adversity now when they have, so that come playoff time they know how to handle that adversity.
Yeah,
and we're hoping that they've handled the adversity now. They're starting to slightly turn a corner. They've got some easier games here to close out the season. That they're in prime spot where they're not a first round exit. Everything clicks, and all of a sudden they go on a deep run here in the playoffs.
Yeah, listen, that's the hope.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah, I mean,
we have a quote out here on the show. We all say Sixers in 5 when we click end broadcast. So we're trying to stay positive. We do a segment on Mondays called Overreaction Monday, where we overreact. Last week Overreaction Monday was Sixers are not even making the playoffs somehow. The world's falling. This week they're back to Sixers in 5. So it's definitely a trend there where the Sixers hopefully are moving in the right direction.
If they go out the first round or in the second, I just can't for the life of me blame Joel Embiid.
No.
Like who would be the fall guy for this? Would it be Morey? Would it be Doc? Would it be Harden? I don't. I mean, it's awfully negative to be thinking that way, but you're the one to put it out there. You said that they could be one and done.
Hey, you guys know. Well, I don't know, Jason, if you've seen my post, but I put it out there many of times. I am not a Daryl Morey fan.
Yeah, look, I follow you on Twitter. I know. Yeah.
Daryl Morey has never won anything as an executive. He hasn't. He's traded for James Harden multiple times in his career. That is his claim to fame at multiple organizations. So I put the blame on Daryl Morey. I put the blame, if this season is not a success, on him because he's the one that has avoided the number one glaring issue, and that is the bench, and that is building around Joel Embiid. He's just so gung-ho on James Harden all the time.
Yeah. Listen, and that weakened the bench even more. I mean, as much as I don't know how you guys felt, but I was excited originally when the Harden trade went down. But then you think, well, wait a second, now there's nothing on the bench now. They weakened the bench.
Yeah.
How much does Doc play in this? I mean, how much is he the fall guy?
Well, his
the fall guy.
His rotations are out of whack all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you brought up a good point. Like they don't have a bench now, but I think the trade for Harden, I think what they were thinking is like, now we have Harden, we can count on him for 25 points, 15 assists, 8 rebounds a game, and we don't have to worry too much about the bench. But really, we've just we've traded things off. Strong bench, no, third superstar there, and now we have the 3 superstars, but nobody can breathe any of those guys, and that, it's short-sighted, I guess, from Morey's standpoint. He probably should have got. I know Phil was really pining to find a guard out there to come off the bench somewhere, and that just never materialized.
Jason, they like to make fun of me on this show because I kept using the term the ancillary moves that Daryl Morey did not make, and I like to throw that SAT word out there, ancillary. Mr. Larry Iezzi used to make us write down words like that, in high school, and they make fun of me for it. But Daryl Morey did not find any ancillary pieces to help this team for this stretch run. All the other teams in this playoff run right now have made extra moves to solidify their bench. That 10th guy, that 11th guy, that will make a difference down the stretch, and he did not do that.
You're right. You're right.
Hey, it's about time I'm right on something.
Phil finally right for something.
I'm not right often, So real quick before we wrap this up, we'll go to the other thing that I'm always wrong on. and I've been told I'm wrong on this one for multiple years. Phillies, this is Tuesday morning unofficially.
What are you wrong about?
We're 3 days away from opening day.
Okay.
I've been, the Phillies. There's really not many question marks going into this season in the sense of who's our center fielder, who's our left fielder, who's our starting pitcher. There's not many positional battles. You got the Stott versus Bohm at shortstop. You've got, a couple minor different, positional battles going on. But, Mickey Moniak, center field, and Aaron Nola as a starting pitcher. I have been saying for a while, Mickey Moniak, people have given up on him way too soon. We're starting to see a little glimpses of him in spring. He's earned that center fielder job. And I've been saying
proven right there
that Aaron Nola is not the Cy Young pitcher that he was in 2018. Am I right or wrong on either of those two things?
Well, he certainly didn't have a good year last year. Mm-hmm. His last spring start was pretty good. So
he did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's got the opening day start again. He's got to step up. He's got to step up. I mean, the rotation on paper, if everybody does what they're supposed to do, it's not a bad rotation. The bullpen's another story, but the rotation's not bad.
See, I actually have more questions about the starting pitching than most people.
Okay.
Zach Wheeler has never, really had back-to-back long, 200-plus inning kind of seasons. He's had some injury issues after them. Okay. He's already got a tired arm. Aaron Nola, it's been 5 years since he was a Cy Young candidate. Zach Eflin, he's not been in the bigs for only 2 years. He's been in the bigs now for 5+ years. Yeah. He's not put together consistency. Ranger Suarez has 12 starts in his career, and everybody thinks he's this top 5 pitcher in baseball now because of those 12 starts. And Gibson has more seasons. He's been in the league, I think, for 8 or 9 years. He's got more seasons of over 5 ERA as under 4 ERA. Listen, so, there's a lot more question marks in that starting rotation than people are willing to give it credit for.
No, I mean, look, you make a good point, but again, it's like if everybody, I mean, the rotation has potential. You're right. There's question marks there, but if they live up to their potential, I'm saying a lot of ifs, aren't I?
There's a lot of ifs or question marks,
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I mean, look, like anything, it's a performance-based business. They got to go out and do their jobs. If they go out and do what they're supposed to do, it should be a decent rotation. Again, I'm worried about the bullpen. Although, if Sir Anthony Dominguez can come back and be somewhat what he was, well, that'll help.
Yeah, that's a huge if right there, but that would be a huge boost to the bullpen if Sir Anthony Dominguez can resort back to his rookie year. He really came out of nowhere and was really –
yeah.
I think we were kind of calling him the closer of the future there, for a very short period of time.
He's got good stuff, and he throws hard. So,
absolutely. So, all right, we'll close it out with this: Phillies, Eagles, Sixers. We didn't talk Eagles, Flyers. We didn't talk, Union.
What do you want to talk about the Flyers?
Yeah, I know we don't want to talk about
that organization. Let me ask: is Ed Snyder rolling over in his grave right about now? That it's amazing how far they. I am really disappointed in that organization.
Well,
I don't know where to start.
Yeah, listen, I'm a huge Flyers fan. I've been a huge hockey fan my whole life, and I grew up on those great teams in the '80s that went to the Cup Finals twice against Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers. And it's like it pains you to see what the team is now. It pains you to see the arena half empty. I mean, I've
never experienced that. I'm with you, Jason. I'm probably about the same age as you, maybe a little bit younger. That building was never.
He called me old. Did you catch that? No.
I saw it. I heard it.
I'm the oldest guy on this channel, so if I prefer.
I'm going to clip that segment out there for you, just so you can highlight that he called you old live on the air.
No, but Jason, like that building was never empty, never, and I don't understand it. I don't understand how far it could fall so quickly.
I remember, and I'm sorry. I know you want to wrap this up, Phil. I'm sorry. You get me talking.
We can stay on for another 3 hours if you want.
I talk and talk, but no. I grew up going to the Spectrum, and damn, do I miss that place.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I remember, and you guys probably remember this too. There were like 4 or 5 straight years in the '90s where the Flyers didn't make the playoffs, but the Spectrum was still sold out night after night, and the place still rocked when. I mean, not to be cliche, but the place rocked when the Flyers scored a goal. Now, it's. The arena's half empty. That's how bad it's gotten. it's awful. It's just it's so bad watching this team, man.
You think about it from the late 80s, early 90s, how you say that the spectrum stayed packed for the Flyers versus the Phillies. Growing up, my dad taking me to games late 80s, early 90s at the Vet. The Phillies were terrible.
Yep.
Could they get 8,000 people at the Vet in some of those years?
Yeah.
91, 92, 89, some of those years.
They were bad years.
People. They were a lot of bad years. Some of my favorite memories are from those games, but could they get 8,000 people to show up? So, I mean, it's really frustrating.
And in that stadium, 8,000 people looked like nothing.
Absolutely. Hey, it was great because my dad would take us up into the 700 level. And then by the third inning, we're down to 300 level. Because no one else.
Right.
You could buy $5 tickets and sit in the $30 seats. Because, 30 years ago, good seats were only like 20 or 30 bucks.
You used to get the free tickets and the hot dogs. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Phillies Franks, right?
Yes.
That's right. There's another giveaway. There was a giveaway with the Inquirer or the Delco Times, which I always read as a kid, that you could just fill out the form and they would send you tickets. Every Sunday there's a form. You just fill it in, mail it in, and my dad was. It cost me $5 for parking and $10 for hot dogs and drinks, but
they gave away tickets like everything. If you remember, Harry Callis would say on one of the innings there'd be a contest for tickets to a future Phillies game to this, and they couldn't give them away.
That was the Daily News home run payoff, right?
Remember that? That's what it was.
Win that a few years ago. I did actually win free tickets. They actually do send them out in the mail. For all those years, I entered that for 20 plus years.
Wait, who batted for you? Who was the batter?
It was a backup catcher. I forget who it was. A couple years ago. It was before Knapp was the backup catcher. I don't even remember who it was. Yeah, I should remember that, but yeah. I got an envelope in the mail and it said the Phillies. I'm like, this is a joke from some friend or something. But no, it was 2 free Phillies tickets. I loved it.
Very cool.
So we're talking about buildings getting filled and whatnot, and I've been saying this for a little bit now, Jason, on our shows, is Philadelphia is a baseball town that happens to be dormant. What do you think about the team this year and then their lineup and that stadium getting back to the 2007 to 2011 levels?
About the Phillies? Well, listen, I mean, they're going to hit. I mean, we already talked about the question marks with the pitching. So the question is, can they hit enough to overcome whatever deficiencies they have, in the pitching department? They're not going to win. They're not going to have many, 3-2, 2-1 games. It's going to be 11-9 or 14-12. It's going to be high scoring games. But I mean, listen, what do they say? Chicks dig the long ball. People like offense. And one thing this town has proven is if you put forth the effort and you win, they will support you. I mean, in that run from, what was it? I guess 07 to 11, how many straight sellouts did they have?
A lot.
Yeah. Did it get into the 200s? I think it was more than a season. It was more than a couple seasons worth of sellouts at Citizens Bank Park. So, it's a loyal fan base. I mean, listen, I heard stories back in the day when the Eagles sucked and they played at Franklin Field, yet it was still sold out. They were winning 1 or 2 games a year, but the fans still came out. So it's a loyal fan base, which kind of makes you, if we get back to the Flyers, the fact that the Flyers have turned people off so much really says something, because it takes a lot to get to get us to be apathetic and to not care. And right now, Flyers fans don't care. Phillies fans, I think, do care. And I think as the team gets better and as they gel and their chemistry gets better, I think it's going to be rocking this summer at the ballpark, and I'm looking forward to it.
Can't wait. April 22nd. I've already got tickets to my first game to go on down there.
Who they playing?
First time going to a baseball game in a while, so you can't not get excited about that.
Oh, sure. Who they playing?
I don't even know. Someone sent me an email and said, "Hey, I got 2 tickets for you." I'm like, "Send them to me." Sure.
There you go. Nice, very nice.
Anyway, Jason, I appreciate Jason Lee here from PHL 17. I know you got to get to bed because 1 a.m. is right around the corner. Real quick, as I let you off the air here, you've been doing this in the media business, like we said at the beginning of this interview, for 30 years now. You've been in the Philadelphia area, doing great stuff.
Thank you.
What would be, if you had to end this conversation here with this, the greatest memory you have from 30 years? Whether it was an interview, getting to meet somebody, sporting event you got to cover. If you had one moment that stands out as your favorite moment right now in your career. Because I know mine was just having you on the show right now.
Oh, Listen, man, if this is your greatest memory, man, you got a sad life, buddy. It's, I mean,
look at how short my coat is. I'm wearing a green coat.
You got to aim higher, man.
On my arm right now.
Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, I've been lucky. I mean, I could talk about like playing in media softball games on the field at the Vet and at Citizens Bank Park. I suck at baseball, but just being on the field and being at home plate and Dan Baker announcing my name, and I actually got a hit. In Little League I could barely hit, but I have it on my phone. Somebody recorded it. I have it on my phone, so I'm not BSing. I could show it to you, but I got a hit at the ballpark. So that's one. And I guess the other one that sticks out in my mind is like I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, I was the regular weather guy on our morning news. And every Friday in the summer, we would do weather live at a different shore point. And one Friday we were in Cape May, and I would try to find, places to go, fun things to do, and kind of intertwine the weather, but just, fun segments to do for the morning news. So I knew Bernie Perrant had his boat docked in Cape May. And I read that like a week after we were going to be there, he was having a fishing tournament to benefit the Ed Snyder Youth Hockey Foundation. He's very passionate about that, and they do great work. So I'm like, he may want to promote that. So he has a website. I sent an email. His wife gets back to me. We set it up. So I interviewed Bernie Perrant live on his boat. We did 2 segments live on his boat on TV. And, to this day, I still talk to him from time to time. He's been on Sports Scene a few times. He's an awesome guy. Do you have time for one more quick story?
Absolutely. Yeah. This show can go on we're pre-recording, so this show can go on for as long as we need it to be.
Okay. Be careful what you wish for. So it's kind of connected to the Bernie Perrant story, just to show you what a great guy he is. So we did two segments on his boat, and we had like a half hour in between segments. So he takes me in to look around to show me around his boat, and I see he's got a humidor with cigars. And I said, "Oh, you're a cigar guy." I said, I like a good cigar every once in a while. What you got in there?" So he shows me, and I made a comment about my dad, because my dad is a real cigar connoisseur. I like a good cigar, but I wouldn't say I'm a cigar connoisseur. My dad is. Fast forward about 6 months after that, and obviously this is pre-pandemic. He comes to the station to be on our show in studio. I go to greet him in the green room, and he goes into his jacket pocket. He pulls out a cigar and he says, "Give this to your dad." And he brought a cigar to give to my dad. And it's funny because Bernie Perrant has his own line of cigars. So there was like what do you call it? The label on it. Mm-hmm. There was like a crest and it said BP. So my dad has a Bernie Perrant cigar, and it just, he remembered that. He's a great guy. And that's the cool thing about what I've been doing. And I just been so lucky because this job has given me a chance to meet so many great people that normally I wouldn't have had a chance to meet. So it's been cool. It's been a good ride.
Perrant's an awesome guy. I remember going to a Flyers game
awesome
about
story.
6-7 years ago, and I was in the store, whatever they call the store inside the Wells Fargo Center there.
Sure.
And I'm there with my friend. I'm like, yo, I'm just pointing to this guy. He's shopping with what I'm assuming was his granddaughter, great-granddaughter. I'm not sure. This young girl, I'm like, I think that's Bernie. And my buddy was like, dude, there's no way Bernie Perrant's shopping in the store. I'm like, I think that's him. And I looked, and I guess he heard my loud, obnoxious voice, and he just looked at me and he went like this. And I'm like, all right, that means it's him, and he doesn't want to draw attention. So I just walked away. So to sidetrack, I worked in college. I worked at a hotel down in Philly where all the visiting baseball players, would stay. The teams would stay at. Hyatt now, it used to be a Hilton. I don't know, or it was a Hilton. I don't even remember. I used to work in the bar there, and they wanted to be after the games, after beating the Phillies and whatnot. They don't want to be left alone. So I learned at an early age. When you meet these athletes, you try not to be that star. Don't get Google-eyed over the star.
Sure.
And I'm like, all right, Bernie Perrant wants to be left alone. I'm going to leave him alone. So I left him alone. Well, he found me about 5 minutes later in the store, and whoever the young girl was with him wasn't there anymore with him. He's like, dude, thank you very much for not bothering me. You want to take a picture with me? And he pulled me aside so no one else made a big scene, took a picture with me, said hello to me, shook my hand. and that was it. I'm like, he didn't have to do that.
Yeah, no,
And that just goes to show how awesome of a dude he really is.
he is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and he's always quick to show his rings, because he's got a ring on each hand. Yeah, he's great. He's great. And so yeah, getting to talk to him live on TV on his boat was something I'll never forget.
I mean, that it might be hard to get past that right there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jason Lee, I know it's late for you. I know you got an early morning. I don't know how you do it. I used to marvel. I used to be a big Preston Steve, guy. I used to listen to their morning show all the time. And how you, them, anybody that does morning shows, the Mike Jerrick's over at the other station, those guys, you guys that have to get up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
I don't know how you do it. I can't get up at 7 a.m. for this show.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's tough when you're in TV news because it takes a lot of preparation just to get the show on the air, and we go on at 5 a.m. But people say to me, "How do I do it?" Well, I enjoy being able to pay my mortgage. That's how I do it. I mean, it is what it is. And you listen. The worst part about the job is the hours. The job itself is great, so I got nothing to complain about.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have anything coming up with the next couple of weeks with Sports Scene? Any special guests you want to promote coming on the show?
I've got Ruben Amaro Jr. coming up on Friday. That's the only guest I have lined up for the next. I try to book the show week to week. It's very rare that I'll book a guest, weeks in advance. It does happen sometimes if I know somebody's not available this week, but they're available next week. So okay, fine, let's put it on the calendar. But normally I try to book it week to week, and I try to. I obviously want to talk about what's hot in sports at the time. So Phillies opening day is Friday. So I wanted to get a big Phillies name on. So Ruben Amaro, another great guy, by the way. He's always been great, and he's been on the show a few times, and he agreed to come on again. So it'll be cool to have him, and we'll talk some Phils. And I guess I guess I'll get somebody to talk some Sixers too. I don't have that guest yet, but.
Well, Mark and I are always free. Anytime.
Yeah, I'll be glad to come down to the station.
You no names to come on. Mark and I are free to come on.
Hey, listen. First of all, number one, you're not no names. And number two, listen. You guys are good at conversation, and to me, that's what makes the show good. I mean, it's not just getting quote unquote big names. It's getting people who are passionate about sports and who can have good, compelling, entertaining conversations. And you guys can.
I appreciate that.
So I just might be knocking on your doors. Okay.
Let me know. I'll be down.
And the cool thing is,
I will close the pizza shop, or you can come do a remote recording. You can do it right from the pizza shop if you want to. The businessman inside of me is always thinking.
Well, there you go. And it's all virtual. So you guys don't don't have to come to the station. It's all we do it via Skype. Is your pizza shop like sports themed at all, or
it's a mostly takeout and delivery pizza shop. We have 3 small tables. The main wall in my shop, like I said, 3 small tables. I got a big screen TV, which is there for me, not the customers. And I just got Philly stuff all around the wall, all around my TV. Because why I talk Eagles, I talk Sixers. They're what we talk the most on this show. Deep down inside, it's always baseball to me. That was always the number one love. Like you, I was no good at baseball, but I wanted to be Mike Schmidt growing up. So,
who didn't? Yeah, right?
Well, I couldn't be Mike Schmidt growing up. That's all there is to that.
But neither can I. Actually, I wanted to be Harry Callis, to be honest with you. That's who I wanted to be growing up. I idolized that guy.
Yeah, Harry Callis. They don't make him like him anymore.
Nope.
My brush with fame. I actually had a lunch with Harry Callis once down in Penn's Landing back in 1994. I sat down and had lunch with the man, and it was
amazing.
Greatest thing. I was a college student, and it was Penn's Landing was having an event. It was a sports theme event, and I had worked vending down there. And for whatever reason, I was able to go to this luncheon. And at my table was Harry Callis and Tommy McDonald, and I was sitting between the both of them.
Wow.
And Tommy McDonald gave me an autograph, but he was in his Cowboys uniform, and he was ashamed to give me the autograph.
Oh,
and
wow.
we talked, and this was before he got into the Hall of Fame. And when we're talking about, Hall of Fame, and he showed me his NFL alumni ring, but he started to tear up because he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. He felt that he belonged, and he's like, gosh, maybe there'll be a chance. And I'm glad he was able to get in a few years later.
Yeah.
Harry, we were talking, it was the time where 94, they went on strike, and we were talking about when are they going to come back, Harry? When are they going to come back? And he said, I don't know. And sure enough, they never came back that season, and it was a shame because that kind of killed baseball for a whole generation.
Oh, it sure did. I mean, let's face it. It took two guys on steroids having a home run race to get people to care about baseball again, and that wasn't for what, like 3 or 4 years after that. So, okay, quick Harry Kalas story.
Okay.
This was, I want to say it was like 97 or 98. I'm on a date with the woman who eventually became my wife. Okay, we're at Caesars in Atlantic City. I'm going up an escalator, and I see coming down the other way, I see Harry Kalas. All right. And I'm already on the radio at this point. I'm on B101. So it's like, I'm a broadcaster too. I'm established, but it didn't matter. I'm like, Harry, hey. And total fool of myself. And he's so cool. He's like, hey, buddy, how are you? Hey. And I totally embarrassed myself, but he was great about it. And my wife, for some reason, still decided to marry me. So I don't know.
That's awesome.
Dude, that was a fantastic impersonation right there. Spot on without any prep. You didn't know you were going to do it.
No, actually, I kind of do a Harry Kalas, but it's not great.
Should you sting us off with some high hopes here? In your best Harry K voice? No,
I've never sung like Harry Kalas.
No.
Yeah.
I knew he could have done my wedding.
Sing at your wedding?
Well, no, he would do your well. Like there's a thing online that you can apply to have intro the new Mr. and Mrs.
How cool would that be? Yeah,
that would have been fantastic.
And now the new Mr. and Mrs. See, I can't do it.
I went to a wedding where Lou Nolan announced the whole wedding party.
That's cool.
Lou Nolan was a neighbor of a friend of the family, and he pre-recorded everything. It was awesome. I wish I could have had that, but.
He's another great guy. Matt Cord does it too. Matt Cord, he's done a lot of wedding intros, and we have a lot of good public address announcers in this town. Even the guy who does the Union, and the Union don't get a lot of pub, but I'll tell you what, they got a hell of a team. Kevin Casey, their PA guy, he's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been blessed with a lot of great voices in this city. Hey, even Jason Lee's got a really great voice for TV right now. Hey, look at me buttering up the guest over and over again.
I appreciate it. I do. Thank you. That's very nice.
Jason, thank you very much for coming on. I greatly appreciate your time. Again, Jason Lee, PHL 17, producer, and obviously the sports scene, Friday nights, 11:30 p.m. Ruben Amaro. I mean, that's a guest that I'll tune in for sure. And I'll stay up till 11:30 to watch it. Because, again, if you're not watching it live at 11:30, how do you know it's on TV?
That's exactly. It's I've actually, and you guys are going to laugh at this, because by Friday, from getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning all week, I'm toast by Friday night. I'll actually take a nap and set my alarm and wake up to watch the show. Because again, if I don't see it when it's on TV, how do I know it was really there?
It's absolutely the truth right there. I love it. Thank you very much for coming on. Again, Jason Lee, at Jason Lee on air on Twitter, and of course, Sports Scene. Jason, thank you very much. The first of not last time coming on Trending in the AM.
Hey, listen, anytime you guys want. I enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
You too.
Anyway, that was Jason Lee. Mark, that was a fantastic interview. Sorry to Jason Voorhees, who sat in the green room for the second half of the show. He kind of just said, peace out, bye-bye. He didn't stick around any longer. I think that, I'll have to apologize to Jason Lee because he said 25, 30 minutes, and we went about 48 minutes right there with him.
Yeah, we were having fun. He was having fun with us.
Yeah,
and maybe we can muscle into his Friday night show. We'll see.
That's me and you. I can't wait to text my family. Hey, look who's famous now. I'm on TV. That's our goal for me and you. I think we've got it in. These faces, though, we might have to do the shows like this, though. We might have to do the shows with no.
I would agree. I would definitely agree. My face was not made for television.
Yeah, these faces are not for television. Anything that stuck out from you from that interview there?
Oh gosh, he's thinking along the same lines as us with the Eagles. Especially when he mentioned Jonathan Gannon, he's not sold on him. And he has real concerns.
To go into that, but I disagreed with him on that one.
Yeah, and the other thing too is he's real concerned about the Sixers, and that's I think we are trying not to let what's going on cloud what our thoughts are about the Sixers, but I think he has a point. Like what's they lost the bench, and Harden isn't necessarily as advertised right now. And what's going to happen once they get in the playoffs? And if they fail again, whose head is going to be on the chopping block? It's not going to be Embiid, I'll tell you that. But
we're just going to free riff here for 10, 15 minutes before we wrap this show up. Can I give you a nightmare scenario? Saturday night, I didn't have to work on Sunday. The Sixers. I was having I was having a few cocktails. I started to have these nightmare scenarios in my head with the Sixers, and I started putting out tweets about Daryl Morey, and he's the cause of the problem, or number one on the list of the problems. And I had this nightmare scenario in my head, and I know it's completely insane, and there's a 99% chance that this does not happen. We know Daryl Morey and James Harden are tied at the hip, correct? Do you agree at that part?
Yes, I do.
Okay. James Harden maybe doesn't want to stay here. He did not sign that long-term extension. Maybe Joel Embiid does not like now playing with James Harden. Maybe they see that they're not a perfect fit. Maybe they are. Who knows? But the nightmare 0.1% scenario came into my head that Daryl Morey signs James Harden to a long-term deal. It pisses off Joel Embiid, and Daryl Morey in turn trades Joel Embiid away from the Sixers.
Oh my God, that would never happen. Ownership would step in and put the kibosh on that.
So. I know that's a nightmare scenario. It's something that I don't want to think about. But again, if ownership has given Daryl Morey free reign to do whatever he wants, Daryl Morey and James Harden, they're tied at the hip. Daryl Morey thinks James Harden's going to win a title in this league. And
not by himself.
It's just this nightmare scenario that popped into my head late on a Saturday night while I was watching reruns of Saturday Night Live. And it just, I don't know. It started, again, it's not going to happen. But what if it did happen? Do you know the outroar that would happen in the city from the fan base if Daryl Morey brought in Mike D'Antoni, kept James Harden, and moved on from Joel Embiid? Because I actually think the Mike D'Antoni to the Sixers, has as much of a chance as Sam Cassell getting promoted if Doc Rivers was let go, stepped aside, retired, whatever it would be. Mike D'Antoni is tied to the hip just as much as James Harden is to Daryl Morey.
Yeah, I would say that even more so with that, and he could be the next coach. My concern is getting to a point where Embiid is completely unhappy regardless, and he demands a trade.
Well, if he's not happy with James Harden and they give him the extension, because you kind of have to, just like they had to keep Tobias Harris after they lost Jimmy Butler, they had no choice but to give Tobias Harris that contract. You traded away Ben Simmons, first round pick, all this stuff they can't let James Harden walk at the end of the season.
If they have an early exit and Bradley Beal is available and Harden doesn't play nearly as well as what they thought, and Morey decides to sign Harden over Beal, that's going to be a problem. Because that is Embiid's guy, Beal is, and I think it's been on record that he kind of preferred him over Harden. But I mean, Beal broke his wrist, and there's not much you can do there.
But you're not going to just let James Harden walk either. James Harden's going to want the max value. And James Harden's got a player option connection as well. There's a scenario where he just says, "I'm playing one more year, no matter what," and just picks up his option. James Harden has also said,
"Well, I'm not against that."
Number one spot. Miami was James Harden's number one spot, but yet again, there's no scenario where Miami has the ability to bring James Harden in. So I don't know how Beal to Philly, Harden in Philly or in Miami, how that whole scenario plays out. I don't know how the financials work out on all of it, but it's kind of there's just this. I just have this doom and gloom feeling after this season. Like, I still think the Sixers can make a deep run. It's a question mark right now, but I think there's enough talent that they can make a deep run. But if they don't make a deep run, I have this doom and gloom feeling in the back of my head right now on what Daryl Morey is going to do with this team.
Do a sign and trade Harden for Jimmy Butler. because I think Embiid loved Jimmy Butler. And
Bring Jimmy Butler back. Bring Bradley Beal in. Have a starting five of Matisse, Maxey, Beal, Butler, Joel.
That'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
I think the ship has sailed on Jimmy Butler. I think
probably. Yeah, and he's absolutely crazy. I mean, he was trying to play this team with
Jimmy Butler on it.
Yeah, listen, it would provide a lot of entertaining quotes and a lot of behind-the-scenes stories that you could probably have on talk radio and podcasts like ourselves. I thought he was great when he was here, and I thought he was a spark to light under guys like Simmons and Embiid. I firmly believe like Butler was moved out because because Simmons felt uncomfortable, and they were still placating Simmons at that point. So
I don't think there's any think about it. I think that's 100% accurate. And honestly, at this point, will there be a Ben Simmons 30 for 30? I don't know. But there will be a Sixers, the process 30 for 30. At some point, 10 years down the line, we will get a lot more information on what went on behind the scenes between the Sam Hinkie getting forced out, the Jimmy Butler, the Ben Simmons, the Brett Brown, all the different situations. We've already heard little glimpses and glimmers in JJ Redick's podcast, but we're going to definitely 10 years down the line when all these players are out of the league, we're going to get a whole hell of a lot more information.
I'll take a front row seat to that because it is definitely a story.
I've only ever watched 2 or 3 of the 30 for 30s.
Oh,
no, I've watched a lot of them, but I only stayed up and said, I'm not missing the premiere episode, when it debuts, only a few times. I normally catch them on demand, down the line, but that would be one. There's no doubt about that. I would be front and center, ready to go.
My 3 favorite 30 for 30s was the Len Bias one, the playing for keeps one with Henry Hill about the point shaving, and I hate Christian Laettner, that one. Can't forget the Ric Flair one. The Ric Flair one was out of this world.
That was my number one.
Was it?
There. Because that was recorded. They filmed that literally a month after he came out of a coma.
Oh, Jesus.
Did you not know? Because he was in a coma.
No, I didn't know that.
He was in a coma for a very long time.
I knew he was sick. I didn't know it was filmed right after he got out of the coma.
You could see him.
He almost died.
Yeah, he almost died. And they recorded that, right? When you see him tearing up in that 30 for 30, it's because he literally almost died 30 days ago. And, yeah, I mean, I'm a wrestling fan, but I'm a major old school wrestling fan. And Ric Flair, the styling and profiling, the Ric Flair / Eddie Guerrero, the bad guys cheating to win, the dirtiest player in the book kind of, style. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I that was the first one. I actually set an alarm not to miss that episode. That I was worried I was going to fall asleep that night. I set my alarm to make sure I was still awake to watch that. I love that one. But the Henry Hill one, Henry Hill and Ric Flair, they're my top 2 right there. Sure.
Ric Flair, if I'm bored, I will go down the rabbit hole on YouTube and watch all these different promos that he cut. And the best ones that he did is, pre-WCW, NWA, when it was in the studio and there was 20 people in the stands. Those were just outright insane. And him and the Four Horsemen, dude, and it was, that's my childhood. That's my childhood. I loved it.
Actually, if you want another really good old school wrestler, 30 for 30 type documentary, I don't know if it's HBO or Showtime did one on Andre the Giant.
Fantastic.
Was it HBO or you remember?
It was HBO. It was fantastic.
Literally, but the Ric Flair and that one literally brought me close to tears. Both those documentaries. And I haven't seen it. There's a series. I don't know if it's Vice TV is what it's called or something.
Yeah, Dark Side of the Ring.
The one on Brian Pillman is supposedly one of the biggest tearjerkers you'll ever see.
It's tough.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Brian Pillman, but he committed suicide.
It's a tough. I went to school with a kid who was an outright wrestling fanatic, and he convinced people that Roddy Piper was his father. And this is a true story, Phil. And he said when he comes to town next month, I'm going to go into the ring when he comes out because he's going to do a Piper's Pit at the Spectrum. And we say, yeah, Frank, you're nuts, whatever. And I don't know if you remember, they used to film it and show it on Prism, like that following Saturday or whatever it was. And sure enough, this kid jumped into the ring and interrupted a Piper's Pit between Piper and Jimmy Hart, and threw an expletive at Jimmy Hart, and he ended up getting thrown out of the Spectrum. And he was absolutely crazy. And as he got older, after he graduated high school, he became a jobber for the WWF and wrestled for like at least a decade. And he wrestled under a lot of different names. But he was
Is that the Brooklyn Brawler you're talking about?
No. And he was
the greatest jobber of all time.
He was from South Philly. The guy's name was Frank Damiano, and he was an absolute lunatic. I could tell you some stories. He was just an absolute lunatic. And if I could find the video on YouTube, I'll share it with you. It used to be on there. Somebody took it down though. But yeah, that's my wrestling story for the day.
That's fantastic. I mean, there's so many great wrestling documentaries. I don't know how we got on a wrestling, topic here, but speaking of Roddy Piper and Ric Flair, there was an old cheesy, not old, but a few years back, there's a cheesy Sunday night, show. It was like a reality show. It was like a wife swap show. You'd swap wives, but then they did like the celebrity wife swap, and they swapped Ric Flair's wife at the time with Roddy Piper's wife, and this was before obviously Roddy Piper passed away.
Right.
And the person Roddy Piper, not the wrestler, the person. I did not know that a lot of wrestlers, their personalities in the ring kind of overtake their real life personalities and they become the character. It never happened with Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper was this quiet, religious, down to earth person. He wasn't the Piper's Pit guy in real life. And he found God later in life. And, he was a very quiet, it's a weird show, swapping wives. It's obviously got, so many issues that just the whole concept of the show.
When you say swapping wives, it was that show where like they come in the house to live. It's not actual swapping.
Yeah,
wives.
They come in the house to live.
Let's just clarify that this is PG-13.
You have to live under the new wife's, like the other person's wife's rule. You're not actually sleeping in the same bed as her. Yeah, no. Well, it was on ABC. Come on, ABC family rule.
Owned by Disney. Yeah, you got you.
Yeah, exactly. But we learned so much about Roddy Piper, the person, in that episode that then he passed away a few years later. Yeah, it was crazy. Reality check. That was the catchphrase I loved all the time.
The one thing about Roddy, I think he did an interview on Howard Stern, and he told Howard that he goes, I'll never make it. They was talking about like compensation and retirement plans and whatnot. He goes, I'll never make it to 65. And sure enough, he didn't make it to 65. And that's a damn shame.
Yeah, he's a great. And on that weird, quiet, somber note, we'll wrap this show up because we just went from talking sports to talking that. And there's so many other conversational points we could have gotten into on this episode. But again, special shout out to Jason Lee. Fantastic guest. We don't get too many guests on the morning show because we're live at 8:30 in the morning. We're pre-recording late at night on a Monday night right now to accommodate him. So we don't really normally get many guests on the show because most people are working at 8:30 in the morning or driving to work and listen to us because you can always plug us into your CarPlay, as Mark does when he's not on the show.
Every day.
It's very easy to do. You just plug your phone in. It pops right up in your sound system in your car. Very easy to do. So special shout out to him. He does great work. And he's also a great follow on Twitter because he's a blue check mark. And I don't mean this in a weird way or a mean way. A lot of people, once they get that blue check mark, they ignore the people that got them to that blue check mark. And he does not. He's very interactive. He's very, I always preach that I like to be a guy that will engage the fan, the listener, the follower. If you have a point, I'll counter your point. I'll discuss it with you. And that's what Jason Lee is as well. He's basically, somebody that will engage your conversation at all times. He'll never, turn a blind eye to you. So make sure you give him a follow at Jason Lee on air on Twitter. And again, check out his show, Friday nights, 11:30, Sports Scene on PHL 17. It's a fantastic show. He's got a lot of great guests on his show. Mark, I'm glad you got to be on another show this week.
Absolutely.
late night recording. I think are you coming back on Friday, aren't
I'll
you?
be on Friday as well. I have the day off, and we have another guest.
We're 95% locked with this guest. Kevin
Yes, we are.
Kincaid from Crossing Broad will be on Friday. We'll be talking about the media a lot more with him, along with Phillies. Friday's going to be a great day because Friday, I might call in late to work on Friday because it is opening day. So we're going to have to talk a lot of opening day baseball on Friday. But yeah, this is Tuesday morning. Wednesday, me and Jason will be on. Thursday, I haven't figured out Thursday's plan, but Friday, it's opening day. It's my literally favorite day of the year, always in sports.
Should be made a national holiday, if you ask me.
It absolutely should be a national holiday, opening day. It's a day that we didn't think we would see. That there's really a moment there where we didn't think we'd see opening day. But anyway, we're going to wrap this up right here. Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. I am Phil Stifle at Beard of Knowledge. I'm going to pull the mark. I'm going to point to my Twitter handle right here at Beard of Knowledge. My main man, Mark Moschitelli, at Mark with a C, Moschitelli. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy your Tuesday. We'll be right back. Actually, I'll be back tonight, 9 p.m. Fairway to Heaven. It's Masters Week. That's why I got the green jacket on. I'm super excited and pumped. I have Hunter on Tuesday night. I'm going to do a second show on Wednesday with Chris Ebaum. Hey, it's Masters Week, guys. Everybody have a great Tuesday. We'll talk to you later.